alone, and of course wearing a mask as well. She was sharing about how she has a coming out lesson in her classroom. She'll take a day and have each of the students physically go into a closet in her classroom. And she'll have coached them through the different sexual identities or personalities they may have. And she asked them to go in, think about it, and then come out and declare to the classroom what their sexual identity is. When they do, she gives them an award or a treat. Except when they come out as straight. Then no reward. So, let me play this out for you. If a little boy goes into this teacher's classroom closet and comes out feeling completely comfortable in his skin as a boy, as God designed him, and also likes girls, he will be punished. He does not get rewarded as the other students do. I'm struggling to find the words that accurately capture the moral bankruptcy that underpins an exercise like that. And it's not just isolated either. There was a time when it felt like these were on the coastal sides of our country that slowly seeped in. That's not the case anymore. Social media has made this prevalent all across our country. I see it in my own tiny rural hometown in Iowa. This is not learning, it's indoctrinating. Kids at all ages are vulnerable. Marxist thought and tenets of critical race theory have saturated subjects like science and math in high schools and middle schools. You may have even heard that 2 + 2 = 4 is now racist. Teacher preparation programs spotlight lesson planning that preaches all white people are bad and spends more time on activism 101 than any substantive learning. And I know you all in this room are concerned by this, by these stories and these findings, and you should be, because they are concerning. Now, some believe that we have already completely surrendered our educational institutions to the woke left, and it's too late. But to them, I say, explain the school choice wins that have swept the nation in 2023. Explain the parental rights movement. Explain Moms for Liberty. Explain all of the education savings accounts. Explain Governor Youngkin flipping the state of Virginia 1 year after Biden won it by double digits.
Right.
Why? Because his opponent got on stage and said that parents don't have a role in their child's education. And parents got active. They got involved. They weren't going to stand for that. It's difficult to understate the education freedom wins that we have witnessed over the last couple of years. These policies and principles are policies that many have fought for decades. Last legislative session, the proliferation of school choice legislation introduced alongside the Students First Act, expanding Iowa's education opportunities. In Arkansas, Governor Huckabee Sanders signed the LEARNS Act into law, which gave universal ESAs to students across the country or across that state of Arkansas, giving parents the flexibility and power to choose the best education for their child. We saw universal ESAs signed into law in Utah and others. In Wyoming, we did see lawmakers draft bills that would drastically reshape education freedom and put more power back in the hands of parents. The appetite is there and the time is now. This doesn't stop with state legislation either. We've seen parents run and win their school board races, their elections nationwide. So many have done this. One of Hertiage Action's grassroots activists, we call Sentinels, Sonia Shaw, ran for school board in Chino Valley, California. And yes, I said California. And she won in 2022. Now she's the president of the school board, and one of her first moves was to take policy actually that the foundation, Hertiage Foundation, had written and implement it and got it signed and passed and signed. And this legislation or policy that she passed on the school board was Give a Name Act, which would require the schools to notify parents about changing a child's name. They can't just change a child's name without telling the parents and having the parents approve. It also protected specific sex-specific spaces like bathrooms and locker rooms. These are huge victories. These are not small. As this panel just shared, This is local, and that's where it needs to happen. We need to be involved in our students' and children's lives. So let me say this, there are two things true at the same time. Our institutions of higher education are rotten, with the left determined in its quest to indoctrinate Americans' youth, leaving its mark on classrooms of all ages. And parents are steadfast in their resolve to protect their children. Conservative lawmakers and coalition leaders all across the country are earnest in their efforts to make education freedom a standard practice in states. In last legislative session alone, Heritage Action, backed by research from the Hertiage Foundation and others, empowered states across the country to secure education freedom wins totaling 16 bills in 13 different states in 1 year. Wow. That's huge. These victories do not come without the resolve of parents and community members alike. We must lean in and stand our ground. We cannot cede an inch to the left. They will take anything they can. I started today by speaking about the atrocities that are happening in Israel. I've actually been to one of the kibbutz along the edge of Gaza. If any of you have been there before, you would know that their communities are set up for these attacks. Their playgrounds are actually built of concrete because they're not just playgrounds, they're also bomb shelters. Because rockets are sent over daily. Just across the field from where they live are the very people that want to kill them and their families, as we saw play out just a month ago. And when the first time I went there, I wondered, why are you living here? Like, this is great, this is your home. I'm really glad you've adapted and are taking the steps you need to take to train your children. They've got 7 seconds to get in that bomb shelter when the sirens go off. But why would you not move? When your enemy is so close, is at your doorstep. And their answer was because it was their home. They weren't going to give an inch. Not only were they protecting their home, they were protecting the homes of everyone else in Israel. They were that first border, that first line, not giving an inch. Since the attacks on October 7th, Jewish people from all around the world have flown to Israel to help fight, even though they're not currently living there. Why? Because they understand the bigger meaning and purpose of this conflict. It is not a war over land. It is a war over people and their way of life. So it is to be said of the left. This is not a fight for a school building. It is a war for your child's mind. It is an attack on your values and your way of life. It is an attack on God's design. So I urge each of you, do not give an inch. You may send your kids to a private school or homeschool, or perhaps you're considering homeschooling. Personally, I would highly recommend it if you're able to do so. Your first line of defense is your family. Your first responsibility is your family. And I would urge you to take the steps that are best for them. But I would also urge you not to retreat to your homes and think that the left is going to leave your kids alone. Right. If you see the schools around you, then you are ceding that to the left, and the left is now inching closer to your home. Yes, the left is coming at us from every angle. They've infiltrated institutions. They're in our entertainment, to our military, to our classrooms. They're so detached from reality that they actually believe men can be women if they just try hard enough. And worse, they think that we should be experimenting on this with hormones and irreversible surgeries on our children. The byproduct of a failed education system alone, left alone, is upcoming generations of citizens who at best will lack the basic skills and knowledge to be productively contributing to society. And at worst, are physically and emotionally traumatized in ways that cannot be reversed. Yeah. This takes a toll on every aspect of our lives. Most importantly theirs, but it impacts us economically, morally, socially, spiritually. They will also be the ones making our future decisions. They will be the voters and lawmakers. A student's future should not be decided by their zip code, as Megan stated earlier. Universal education freedom is about giving the best opportunity to your child, but also your neighbor's child. It's about your community, your state, and then your country, your nation. Let's create healthy competition where schools are always striving to improve, always striving to be better. Our children deserve better. And not only do they deserve better, we have a responsibility as adults to fight for them. We truly owe it to them. We know that there is hope, not only because of the swell of parents reclaiming education and the work of so many groups beyond Hertiage and Wyoming Family Alliance and Moms for Liberty. There are so many fighting for this, amazing organizations, including all of you here today. But also because we are fighting on the side of truth.
Yes.
We are fighting on the side of truth, and I serve a sovereign God, the creator of this universe and my Lord and Savior, and I will do everything I can and let him finish the victory. The left fears that. They fear you and me because we will not surrender education to them. We will fight for our kids, their futures, and our great nation because this is our home.
That's right.
We will defend what is good, honest, and true. So I will leave you with this, Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think on these things. Set your child's mind on those things. We have to teach our children what those things are. With that, thank you so much for having us. I think we're going to have a conversation about some of what you guys can do and how Hertiage Action fights for some of this legislation.